Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn. This is Jason.
And this is Kai. And we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of the day is Alita, Battle Angel, I believe.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
been a minute. It's from 2019, so it's not too new, not too old. It's a pandemic movie, so maybe you had a chance to take a look at it. If you didn't, just giving everyone a spoiler warning.
Did it come out? It says 2019 on Letterbox, but did it come out during the pandemic? I guess
Oh
that's
yeah, I
when it
forgot.
started, right?
Yeah, I thought it was
Sort of.
2019,
I don't know.
like early 2020, late
It's,
2019.
it seems so long ago.
Yeah, you get all the years mixed up. It'll be in the history
Right.
books. We'll deal with it then. We'll have our kids
Yeah.
tell us about it. Oh, how was the pandemic? Oh, I don't
And
remember
it's Robert
that.
Rodriguez.
So that's what I wanted to touch on. Robert Rodriguez does not get the recognition he deserves.
I don't think so either because I'm looking at like Letterbox for his directorial stuff. Like The
Spy
Faculty, I think is like a
Kids.
really good movie.
Dude, I
I enjoy
just
it.
found that. I just found out about that like a few weeks ago that he directed The Faculty, and that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's a really good
That's
movie.
that's a
And,
super underrated movie too.
and it's like I think it's like really it's a totally different discussion, but it,
Yeah.
especially when like I think most people watch it when they're in school and they're like, yeah, this is very relatable.
No, the crazy thing is, because what, that came out in like 99, 98, something like that.
Something like that. Let me check.
Uh, I remember my dad, I was a
98.
kid, 98, okay.
Yeah.
I remember being like a little kid and like seeing my dad have it on TV and being like, I don't know what this is, but it looks like a horror movie, but I'm going to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And I've loved it ever since.
I feel like it is an easy way to get into a horror movie because
Yeah.
I think it's pretty scary. It's out there and stuff, but
Just some jumps like, I wasn't expecting that.
yeah,
Which is
yeah.
this is a total sidebar from Alita, but
I
it's
know,
still
right?
Robert Rodriguez, so it fits.
Yeah, but Alita,
Yeah.
2019.
Mhm.
It's an interesting movie. There's a lot of different people in this. Like we have
Yeah.
who is going to become Blade or who is Blade,
Yeah. Mahershala
and
Ali
yeah, so you kind of like
and Kristoff.
yeah, because like Inglorious Bastards is his first movie, right? Whoever plays who's
Kristoff?
Christoph?
Is
Yeah,
it?
I think Inglorious Bastards is his first movie. I don't know, maybe.
There's no
Uh,
way. That man was too good in that movie for that to be
that-
his first movie.
I'll have to double check my
No, I'm pulling
my.
up my phone right now. Kristoff. And he doesn't pop up. Sorry to stop the recording.
No, but
But yeah, it surprised me. So I remember being in the movie theaters, seeing this trailer coming on and being like, oh, it looks interesting, but it wasn't something that I was like, I'm gonna go pay my money and sit in the movie theater for an hour and a half, 2 hours for this movie.
yeah,
But I remember always like in the back of my head, like, oh, I'll check it out eventually. And so when you suggest, I think you suggested it or whatever, it was one of us found it. I was like, oh, let's do it, and I was excited to watch it, and it did not disappoint.
yeah. Okay, it didn't disappoint me. I think I had more negatives or like more of like, but it is an enjoyable film, a movie. Great CGI. I think in terms of like
Oh
one
yeah,
of one of the main things that I point out as a super big positive is that I wrote down this CGI from 2019 is way better than most current movie CGIs, and I
oh
put
yeah.
Marvel as like an example where a lot of
Nigga,
people complain
DC's
about
worse though.
Marvel. I think so. I haven't
The
seen many of the
Flash.
recent.
Oh my
I haven't seen the Flash.
goodness.
I haven't seen the second. We just it was funny because over the week when I was visiting my family, we saw Aquaman, and I was like, this is
Oh
a
ew.
horrible movie. That was like the
Yeah,
one movie me and Patty were like, we're not watching the rest of this. We watched like an
yeah.
hour of it, and we are like, I have to turn it off. Uh, but I
I
was like, that
paid
was
to
when
watch.
we still rented movies from Redbox and stuff.
Yeah, I paid and went to the theater and saw Black Adam and was like, this was the worst idea ever. That
It's funny because like you watch Alita and you're like, you can tell she is CGI, but I watch videos on YouTube of like it explains like how well done the CGI is
Yeah,
in this movie, like
because even
because
the
it's an actual
skin,
actor. Yeah, the
yeah,
skin looks
like when she
good,
was
and
touching her face, I was like, is that her? Is that the girl or is that CGI? Like that blew my mind.
even the eating. It's like, how does this work?
Yeah.
Where she's like eating the chocolate, or like she sticks that whole like the first time she eats that orange, where it's like,
Hmm.
how did that happen? Like, where does it
Yeah.
go? Like, I'm assuming she ate it in real life and stuff, but
Yeah.
um like things like that, like the changes in her iris
Hmm.
when she's
Oh,
like
based on the
waking
light.
up. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like I think a lot of people kind of like go down as to like what's that uncanny valley, and I think what helped it is that her eyes are bigger.
Hmm.
So it you understand that this thing's not supposed to be super real because in the story she's a cyborg,
Yeah.
but I think that that helps where it's not like this uncanny valley where like our like brains are like this is it's a monster can't deal
Yeah.
with it.
they they really played well on that subtlety. And what blew my mind even more, like as I was watching the movie, checking out the CGI, I kept thinking like, oh, once I found out it was Robert Rodriguez, because a lot of at least a lot of the interviews I've seen of him, and I think I sent you like the 10-minute film school from him.
Mhm.
A lot of his films have been low budget, and he's like been able to find ways to cut budget, and instead of using so much money on CGI, he'll do practical or whatever. So when I found out this was him, I was like, how in the hell did he shoot this for being such a frugal director?
The whole time I'm watching it too, where it's like this has to be an expensive movie.
Yeah,
How much CGI? Because like there's like out of like every scene that's in the movie, half of the people have at least some form of like cyborgness, and
yeah.
so that is not practical. I'm assuming, right? There's some things that like that one dude that is like that bounty hunter where
Oh
like
yeah,
the
the
dude with the
badass
face and
guy.
stuff,
Yeah,
and like his whole body is like a cyborg, so it's like you
yeah,
assume the dude's just standing there with like a suit on and everything, and then like they add in the effect afterwards. So like you assume like half of the characters are
yeah.
CGI, and it it looks good even for 2019. Like but it's just I'm assuming it's
That's
got to
what
be an expensive movie.
it's got to be. But that's what blows my mind. Still, is that's 2019. Now we're in 2023, and the CGI should be even better. But it's like they regressed.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what's going on right now, like, but uh, it it's amazing where you can still watch this and you're like, man, I know this is from a long time ago, but this still looks good. You can tell like
Yeah.
she stands out from like the scene,
Hmm.
but I think like the whole thing where like they're I'm assuming when they captured or like when they directed the movie, like she's there as a real person, like she's a real actress and
Yeah, it has
everything,
to
and
be.
so
Yeah.
and yeah, and so like they're actually talking to each other and stuff, and I think that adds to the whole dynamic because it seems very real and kind of like grounded.
Yeah, and like you said, like there were a few moments where the background didn't really match like the actor. They didn't seem like
Hmm.
they really meshed. Like the person wasn't there. Like that was all just a CGI background. But I can kind of look past that because there was
Yeah,
so much CGI and it looked so great.
yeah, and yeah, you can almost get lost in it where it's like you probably
Yeah.
won't even notice that if you're not paying attention to it and stuff. And especially back then in 2019, I bet
Oh yeah.
people in the movie theaters was like, "Whoa, this
There
is
was
crazy. This is like
James Cameron
ambition."
and
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez.
I know. When I
What?
saw that, I was like, James Cameron, man. I wonder if he like
Yeah.
practiced. Does he just
Oh,
produce these things just to kind of get more knowledge and like especially when
has
he's
to.
like doing Avatar and all the CGI work and stuff.
Because he's basically like George Lucas. Just he has to create stuff for himself,
Yeah.
like different camera modifications or whatever it may be, in order to film the stuff he wants to film. So, yeah, that's probably just a way to practice. Like, okay, I want a fully CGI movie uh, with somebody that is an action hero. how do I shoot that? Okay, let's figure out how to do it. Okay, we shot it. Okay, how can I implement these techniques into Avatar?
Yeah, and you also can learn from other people, and maybe
Yep,
Robert Rodriguez probably learned from James Cameron because
for
no
sure.
matter what, he must know his shit too.
Just spitballing ideas back and forth.
Right? And then James is like, all right, Avatar 2 and 3 are gonna have this.
Robert, I'll need you. I need a little bit of help on
Right,
this
right.
one.
You can produce my movie that
Exactly.
time.
You want to make 1 billion, right? Like I got you.
Yeah, and then you want to come see the Titanic? Well, you come over. But what do you see as a positive on your end?
I think we touched on it. So I had the fighting. Like I really enjoyed the action scenes, the fighting sequences, the CGI, which we've been talking about for the last I don't know how many minutes.
Yeah,
And then I like the pace. Like I like that it was a fast pace movie.
yeah, I think so. It there was like more to it. Um, yeah, I get the sense where it's like the pace because it for me because I see it as like a standard like coming to like age movie. It seems
Hmm.
like because like she's like from what they assume that she's like a teenager, right? But she was like
Yeah,
this like ultimate warrior,
99.
right? But yeah, the pacing is good. Where it's like it's kind of like the ball rolls like from
Hmm.
from the first instance where you see him just kind of wandering around and finding her,
Yeah.
and then it's like more of that ebbs and flows and stuff of the character. But
Yeah, even when they focus on other characters and Alita's not in the scene, you're still like, okay, I'm interested, and it's still pushing the story forward.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially with like Hugo, and you're trying to like you're
yeah,
trying to like understand like is he shady? Is he really
yeah.
gonna do it? For me, I feel like it was predictable that he was gonna like at least Mahershala would kind of come in and say like since he's like the bad guy and stuff or like
Yeah.
trying to be the bad guy, like he would like try to like turn Hugo and be like, all right, we're gonna like turn the love interest and stuff. But I guess it was good at the end where it's like you see it where like he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He,
And he becomes a cyborg.
yeah, right. But then dies, right? Like
Yeah.
so we assume he dies, right?
Yeah.
He's like
They didn't make an Alita 2, so we don't know.
yeah, we don't know yet, but I'm assuming that's like one of my big problem too, where I was like, man, they're like she's like doing this whole thing for that Nobla guy,
Yeah.
and I was like, I wrote it's a waste of Edward Norton if they don't make a second one, because that's Edward Norton at the end, right?
Yeah. I didn't even think
Yeah,
about that. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, man, that dude like literally played like 2 seconds, and they're like, we're gonna do a second one for sure. The way we end it is it's a big cliffhanger, and then
Then the
it's
pandemic
been
happened.
yeah, the pandemic happened. Whether or not they got their like were they able to meet their like sales and stuff,
Well,
and
James
like
Cameron's focus went to Avatar, so he's not worried about it.
yeah, it's 5,000 Avatar movies that he's making. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're gonna make a second one.
I'm
But it's
hoping.
like the story ends and you're like, that was Edward Norton. He took off his fun glasses
Yeah.
and stuff and
What do we do now?
yeah, right. And then there's also Michelle Rodriguez. Uh
Yes, and she's like
because
super subtle.
yeah,
She's like in those flashback scenes, but
and like
you
the
know
the
it's her though.
soldier, right? I was like, that's
Yeah,
that's Michelle Rodriguez's voice.
yeah.
It doesn't look like her actually.
Not
For
really,
me,
but
I
then
was
when you
like,
hear the
yeah,
voice, it's like, ah, yeah, I
yeah,
know
the voice
exactly
can
what that
put it
is.
together where it's like
Yeah,
I was like that's totally her. But in like Letterboxd, it shows like uncredited or something, and I was like, oh, that's kind of
oh man,
again, that's crazy. Like,
yeah. Like we know who you are. Like don't go uncredited. Let's say
actually,
you're 98.
I know, right? Another thing, it's funny. It reminds me of like when Pixar like messes around with like the jumping light,
Oh
that
yeah.
like that intro thing.
Hmm.
It was interesting to me to see the 20th Century Fox change to it's a 26th century, and it got all kind of like cyberpunk and everything, and it change to the tone of the movie and everything as to like what the
Warner Brothers does that too. I didn't
do
notice
they.
it until I was on social media or something, and somebody had like a post about like how they love how Warner Brothers does it, and I didn't realize it. I watched I don't know a handful of Warner Brothers movies, but they had like a little thread showing all of the changes for different movies, and I was like, I guess I had seen it and never realized it.
It's so subtle and everything, and it's like but it like starts the movie, and
Yeah,
so like there was one time I saw, remember that like that kid on like
yeah,
the
the
moon, and
DreamWorks
like
one.
yeah, and then that at some point like someone like I think they
He like
ate him
gets
or something, but like
snatched.
they pulled
Oh
him
yeah.
in, yeah. And so stuff like that, I think it like sets the tone for the movie. And I wrote that as like the first like note to myself. I was like, I like when they like do a little change where it's
Hmm.
like they still show their like logo and everything. No one's gonna
Yeah,
change that, but or like you still got to show it and everything.
yeah,
But then you change it just a little bit, just to. I think there was one time like Warner Bros. I think to your point where it's like the bats. I think it was a Batman movie or
yeah,
something. But, like
yeah.
the
The
bats were
Batman.
coming out of it and
Hmm.
everything. So stuff like that, it's interesting, it's fun and everything, and I'm assuming one person works on it probably. Like,
Like this is
that's
your
their one
task for the
thing,
next
yeah.
couple of months. Figure out how to make this cool. I wonder what they're gonna do for Barbie, Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh, see, Oppenheimer just blow it up.
Just blowing up. Just get real close to the camera and just blows up
Yeah, there you go. Big old flash of white.
and just silent.
Yeah, just blind everyone, and then you have to watch like a 3 hour movie probably.
Oof. Yeah. Like I'm excited, but also like, goodness, that's gonna be a long time.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. What do you see as I've already kind of like gone down the route of like negatives and stuff because I did see it as like a fairly stereotypical kind of like coming of age movie
Oh, like the cookie
where
cutter, but then they
yeah,
added in some
for me
action
I
to
was like it
kind of
was like
spice it
kind of
up.
predictable too,
Yeah.
but I think the whole like world of it and the majesty of like Alita and everything, like she's like this
Hmm.
like super weapon, kind of like changes up the game and it makes it interesting,
Yeah.
but the meat and potatoes of everything is basically just standard kind of like run of the mill story
Yeah.
for me.
The one or the one note I have for dislike was some of the actors like weren't the best.
I feel like
Like
the one that played the mom, I forget what
yeah,
her name is. Like she was
uh
horrible.
that's not Lake Bell, is it? I always forget that lady's name.
Yeah, she was not good.
Yeah, even Hugo, like he wasn't the greatest.
I actually don't even know where you see him. Keenan Johnson.
Mm,
Yeah, there's some other
is-
stuff. So like, there's like some random people that kind of like that. I think that's what kind of turned me off to the story, where it's like
yeah,
Hugo's character, like the way he's like the standard. Like it feel like a teenage movie, like a
yeah,
teenager movie, which is action and stuff. And then when I
yeah.
saw like the Motorball, like the actual game that they play and
Hmm.
everything, and I was like, I want more of that. I want to see,
Yeah,
like they showed like
because
one go of it, and I was like, I want to see more of that.
they showed that one scene with the girl from those Netflix movies rolling around, and then they showed like them in the arena, and then that was it. It's like, can we get another 30 minutes of this?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Because that was
you,
really, really cool.
I feel like it like, and it's funny because like when you have like the cyborg thing, you can kind of be more gruesome in
Yeah,
like the way you like tear apart people because it's like just tearing apart metal.
a robot. Yeah,
So yeah, so you can kind of be more of like it's not gory to the extent of the Chainsaw
Inglorious
Massacre
Bastards.
movie or Inglorious
Yeah,
Bastards and stuff. But you get the tone of like, oh, that like that sucks probably, but
that probably hurt a lot, but they're
yeah,
robots, so it's all good.
yeah, and but that was like my big disappointment. Where it's like when, and that came at the end of the movie basically, and it's like there's a whole scene of like her doing it's like roller derby, but like to the
Yeah,
extreme, and then I was
everybody
like
trying to
immediate.
kill her.
Yeah, everyone trying to kill her and stuff, and I was like
Yeah,
immediately, I was like, I wanted to see more of that, and I
yeah,
saw how much time was left, and I was like, there's no way we're seeing more of that because it's like
yeah.
40 minutes left.
They just cut it short. Like, let's get on to the next thing.
Yeah, So that's sort of where I was watching it and I was like it's kind of predictable. Um but it does seem like it ends with the cliffhanger that they
Anticipating.
want to do more in the
Yeah.
next movie. So it's
I
like a lot of
looked up
story building.
I looked up Robert Rodriguez's like upcoming, and there's no Alita 2 on there. There's a
Which
new Spy Kids though.
there you go. See,
Yeah,
he's using his
he's using
his
that
money for
Alita
that.
money.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But that's kind of sad because it's hard. I don't know. It's got to be difficult to like do a movie and you know the story. Like if you're writing the story yourself, like if Tarantino or like these people that write their movies themselves,
hmm
and they know, oh, a sequel is gonna be coming from this. I want to make a sequel. You
hmm
better know that you're gonna get funding for that second movie because it's
It's
like
the truth.
if you're setting all the crap up in the first movie, that first movie oftentimes kind of sucks. If you're trying to like set up
Yeah,
a
because everything
second
is like
movie.
that build up for the second. Yeah.
Yeah, and the conclusion, if it's a trilogy, a lot of people know like the middle movie is typically the better movie
Yeah.
because they're not setting things up and they're not ending things. So it's just like
hmm
action packed, like The
Yeah.
Matrix and
Yeah.
like Lord of the Rings. Like the second movie is like typically the better one. So it's kind of sad to think they may not have a second Alita because you ended it with like so much potential for like this more like I find the movie. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Elysium
I know
uh
of it. I don't think I've actually watched it though.
with Matt Damon. It's like this cyber movie where he gets like an exoskeleton, but like there's this like someone's dying and the rich people that live above them in
Oh, that's
space like
right.
have this thing that like
Because
can
like
cure
cures
things.
cancer and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's trying to get up there to save this person.
hmm
But that's sort of what it reminded me of, where it's like, oh, they're all trying to get there, and like the people that live on like the wasteland are like the poor people and stuff, and the rich people are born into that like time up there and stuff. And that's
It
sort of what like it
seems
reminded me of.
it seemed like it might have been 2018, 2019, but they made a lot of futuristic cyborg movies or like space related. Like that Elysium came out probably around that time. Tom Cruise had like day after
Uh,
tomorrow or day something
yeah, the Edge of Tomorrow.
edge of tomorrow. There you
Yeah,
go.
with Emily Bloom, right?
Yeah,
Or Emily
Emily
Blunt. Sorry,
Blunt. Yeah,
Blunt. Yeah.
and then yeah, Interstellar probably I think was around that. The
There's
Martian,
also
like there
like
was a
District
bunch of like
Nine.
space.
Yeah.
District 9 was kind of dope. Chappie and District 9 actually didn't mind.
Yeah, no, I definitely I don't put Chappie on my four. You know how like on Letterboxd they ask for like your four like top movies.
hmm
I should put Chappie there because I watch Chappie like every single year. Like
Oh
there's like at
man,
least like one time a year I watch Chappie because it's like it's that is like a good
it's
coming of age
fun.
story.
Yeah,
like like he goes through
because he's
so
just a
much.
kid. Yeah,
Yeah. He's a kid that wants to be a kid but learns how to murder people.
which is insane. Like, who thought of that? Who was like, let's make a robot that's gonna grow up and just murder because of
Yeah,
these people?
so that's like I guess like where like the bar for I guess for this type of movie. Elysium's pretty good. It's not that bad.
Mm.
Um and I think that kind of like tells you what my rating can be for this movie for like where it can be and everything. But
The middle ground.
yeah, yeah. But what'd you end up rating it?
I actually don't remember. I want to say I gave it a three, a
Watched
two
it
and a half,
a week
three. I think a three though.
ago. I gave it a two.
Okay.
A two, and I was like it's a decent movie. It's
hmm
fun. I think the biggest thing that's a drawing point is the CGI,
Yeah,
and I
and I
think
think
because
that's.
it's
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry.
No,
I cut you off. Yeah.
I think you're not. You can still watch this movie today and still be like invested in the world because you're not taken away by like, oh, this is a movie like 5 years ago. It's gonna
Hmm.
look horrible. It doesn't, and
Right. Yeah.
it still looks great and stuff. And I think that's like the biggest selling point of this movie.
I I think that's why I gave it a three. I think the CGI is what put it over for me because like the whole some of the actors weren't that great, but I think seeing some actors that I enjoy now back then was kind of cool. I think that's kind of what pushed it over. Like seeing Mahershala Ali, seeing Christoph, uh, that pushed it over to like I'll give it a little bit, give it a little bit of love.
I guess you can see why he got Blade because he kind of plays
True,
like
yeah.
like
Well, even that and Luke Cage too,
was he in Luke
because he
Cage?
was a bad guy in Luke Cage. Yeah.
I don't think I ever seen Luke Cage. I
Okay,
gotta watch
season
it.
one. He's in season one. That's all you have to
Okay.
watch is season one. Season
Yeah.
two gets a little
Yeah.
questionable.
Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting. I wonder sometimes like do directors kind of get lost in having too many like big name people? I guess back then they
That's
weren't
Wes
big name
Anderson. I
people.
don't know. That's
I know
a
Wes Anderson, but I think everyone just wants to like and it like Tarantino like
yeah,
but
yeah,
I wonder if like just Wes Anderson knows how to like everyone just do your thing. Like I chose you for this role because
yeah.
just do it and everything.
It's just taming egos. Like if you're confident enough and you know your craft well enough to tame an ego or all of these egos, you should be golden. And it seems like Tarantino and Wes Anderson have like figured that out. But Scorsese too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Scorsese, no matter what, I think he came up with all of them. No matter,
That's
and
true.
so I think that was the big thing where like Scorsese showed them that he can make a good movie, but then also he showed the actors that they can be good actors. I guess too, because it's
Yeah,
like
because they
he
were all
almost kind
like
of started all of them.
super young.
Yeah, and Wes Anderson, I think no matter what, like you see, like talking about like what our possible next theme for our month, like starts off with like a small number of sort of big name people. And then like I'm
Yeah,
assuming Asteroid City has like 10,000 like big name people. Like those
everybody is
commercials have
like
like everybody, yeah.
yeah, everybody.
So yeah, I guess you learn to like know how to tame all of them
Yeah,
because it is big egos that you have to like deal with. I
yeah,
guess I'm assuming.
and it just it will yeah, it comes with the name like the celebrity.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I assume I can't say all of them have it,
I
but
know,
I
right?
assume.
Like, we're assuming they're all douchebags and
Let's
everything.
hope not, but yeah, we don't know.
But let's say, do we ask our typical question? Do you buy this for your personal movie collection, and also do you recommend this movie?
Yes to both. I
Yes to
would
both.
buy it. I enjoyed it. The action, the CGI, like I enjoyed that. Story wasn't the strongest, but I can look past that because of the CGI. So I would recommend it and I would add it to my collection.
I would recommend it to watch it. I would definitely recommend if you are choosing Chappie or Elysium, choose Chappie over like any of these movies. If you've never seen Chappie, watch Chappie. Uh, but I probably wouldn't buy this for my movie collection. The big selling point is the CGI
Hmm.
and everything, and I think you would. I don't know. I can probably watch. I can say like we would watch this like another 5 years from now and still be like, well, this came out
Oh
in
yeah,
2019. That's fucking good.
this is
Um,
it's
yeah,
still
so
top
it's a big
notch.
deal.
Like
Yeah, so I wouldn't buy it. I would recommend it, but I would recommend Chappie or Elysium or District 9 and stuff like that. If you want sort of that same type of flavor, like a dystopian, like there's those people down here with all of us, and then there's those people up there. Um, I think Elysium, District 9, or Chappie do it a little bit better.
hmm.
But it's whatever your flavor. But yeah. All right, Kai, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason. We'll be back next week for another one.